video. In this one, I'm going to be talking about the impact of the set Paldea Evolved. So I should probably, set the stage a bit with some context. I was one of the people who didn't really enjoy the Silver Tempest format all that much, really. Definitely became a bit of a one-trick pony with all the amount of Lugia and Lossum kicking around. That being said, it wasn't the worst format that we've ever seen in the TCG. There's definitely been worse formats than that one. But still, it was fairly boring. Probably wasn't helped by the fact that, Crown Zenith was the only set between, Silver Tempest and the end of the Sword and Shield era. So we barely had any shake-up whatsoever for several months. So yeah, pretty repetitive. And then when Scarlet and Violet came around, people kind of assumed things would be very different, especially with rotation. But as the results for several Japanese tournaments came in, it did become fairly apparent that maybe things weren't changing all that much. We'd maybe get one or two new decks in the form of Miraidon and Gardevoir, and then the rest of the meta would basically just be Mew, Lugia post rotation, and Lost Zone, and then maybe some Arceus with Giratina. And to be honest, it's basically stayed the same, honestly, for most of Scarlet Violet, I would say. Even though Miraidon, I would say, has underperformed, maybe. It has made like the occasional top 8 or top 16 rather on some online events. So it's definitely not the worst deck around, and there has been at least some decent amount of variety. Then when Paldea Evolved came around, people assumed, we'd see several new contenders, like Meowscarada was the one that I really believed in. Chien-Pao seems to be pretty decent. But for the large part, things haven't changed all that much. And I don't want to say this as like a very negative thing, because I know that a lot of people are actually really happy with this format and it is pretty cool. We look at this event, for example, we could just like look on the right here and see all the different decks that are doing well, which is impressive. However, it is kind of just the same decks that we've mostly been with for a while now. It's kind of like it's very difficult to bring up this matter because like as soon as you say something like, oh, I don't like Lost Zone as an archetype because I feel like it inhibits certain deck creation, people will say, well, the deck is hard to play and it's not that popular, all the rest of it. Well, it is pretty popular, but still. So yeah, the format for me personally doesn't feel like it's changed all that much, and I would like to see maybe a couple more decks added that are competitive, because what it feels right now is we're very much still in this like V star slash some V max. I guess Mew is really the last V max that's still standing. I guess Urshifu is like still hanging on there, clutching 11th place in this event. But we're still in this very much V star kind of format. And to be honest, I don't think we'll see serious change until maybe Obsidian Flames comes around, which is August set, so probably not waiting too long if there is going to be serious change. And if not in August, then the set afterwards, which I believe is the first set to feature a Paradox Pokemon. So it is going to be a little bit of a wait before we see major change. But decks like Lost Zone, Mew VMAX, Lugia, I really don't think those decks are going to go away until they rotate, probably, because realistically, their level of power compared to the way that most EX Pokemon are being designed definitely suggests that Pokemon want to lower the power levels quite a bit with the new EX Pokemon. And although that is, of course, very good news for future rotations, because it means that, decks like Miraidon are probably going to be pretty good in a couple of years. It does mean, however, that we are kind of stuck with V-Stars and V-Max kind of just dominating. And I'm not saying either that maybe best deck in format or, the decks that are really competitive should be changing every few months. I don't really think that should be the case either. But at the same time, it would be nice to see more EXs that are doing well, basically. And in hindsight, we don't have much to go on right now. And looking ahead to Obsidian Flames, like we've only actually seen, as we're recording this video, we've only seen 2 EXs really revealed for that set that aren't promos, those being Tyranitar and the Charizard. And even though the Charizard seems fairly strong, definitely has a strong attack and a strong ability, it is still stage 2 at the end of the day, and I'm not sure how consistent it's going to be when it has to set up against stuff like Lugia and Lost Zone, potentially. Does seem a little bit worrisome, to be honest, but we'll have to see how that goes. There's also the Tyranitar, which to be honest looks a bit subpar. I don't think Tyranitar will be doing anything crazy, but maybe it surprises us and it's really good, but we don't know that yet. We also haven't seen any of the other EX. Again, as I record this video, we haven't seen like Vespiquen or I believe there's a Greedent or something that's confirmed for that set. We haven't seen Vespiquen, we haven't seen Greedent. Oh wait, we actually have seen Greedent. I think we have seen Greedent Terra type, yeah. So we've seen Greedent, we've seen Dragonite. They were part of the starter decks, and they were terrible, to be honest. Like, there were some really terrible starter EX decks that are unfortunately going to be in Obsidian Flames. I know this video is like coming across as very, very negative. I do appreciate the card creativity these days. I think the variety is great. But yeah, I'm just honestly not that sold that anything has really changed all that much in recent months. Like, I want to know what you guys think, though. Is this just me being a pessimist? Am I just looking at things from the wrong angle? But yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say at the minute. It's been a fairly fun format to try out. Chien-Pao does seem to be on the rise. Hopefully it stays that way. But yeah, it's been Ember Power, and thank you for watching.